Set your clocks because the Blizzard WoW announcement is this Saturday, and we all know that Hardcore Classic Season of Mastery 2 is just around the corner. With that being said, I have been enjoying the new current player-made solo self-found version of Classic Hardcore for several months now, and I wanted to bring light to some of the issues that I've experienced with the end game. After dying on my level 51 warrior, I recently decided I would re-roll Hunter to enjoy some of the quality of life advantages that they have over warriors while leveling. After about 6 days played, I found myself at my final ding. Level 60. Time to hop in a guild, raid log, and get bissed out so I can flex my Nax gear to level 5s in Goldshire. Well, not exactly. Upon hitting level 60, I first needed to find a guild that had similar goals to mine in Hardcore. If I wanted to get epic loot, I was going to need an epic guild. Well, surprisingly, my search didn't take that long because there's only one guild that currently raids in Hardcore Classic, and that guild is Hardcore Elite. So that's the one I joined. The application process was easy because, well, everyone gets in. This made sense to me because people are consistently dying at level 60 and they'll need new players to step in and fill for them. Once I got in the guild, I knew I had to earn my raid spot. So I immediately started working on my pre-bis gear, farming all of my hardcore consumables such as fire and nature protection potions, limited invulnerability potions, petrification flask, elixir of mongoose, fortification potions, stam food, stamina beer, chrono boons, etc, etc. So after about 5 days of farming dungeons, attunement quest lines, and secondary professions, I had achieved my goal of becoming a fully enchanted, raid consumable ready, pre-bis level 60 hardcore hunter. Now it was time to apply for a raid slot. Hardcore Elite assigns raid slots by posting the raid time in Discord, and you just go and sign up, very much in a free-for-all fashion, and then they let you know if you make it into the raid or not. This was one of the first problems I encountered in Hardcore Classic Endgame. Class diversity. Within minutes of the first Molten Core raid posting in Discord, I noticed that there were already 10 hunters that had signed up ahead of me. And this wasn't even for the main Molten Core raid, this was for Molten Core raid number 2. And no surprise, a day later when they posted who would be participating in the raid, I was not one of the hunters on that list. If you take a look at the class breakdown of all the applicants, I would say that this is a pretty accurate model of what to expect for class diversity at level 60 on official launch. Warriors and hunters being the most played class, Pally, Priest, Mage, Rogue in the middle, and Druid, Warlock on the bottom. The problem I noticed with Hunter being an easier class to play in Hardcore is that a lot more of them make it to level 60. This makes it harder for you to get into a raid. Although we have just as many warriors as we do hunters, there's a lot more raid slots for warriors since they do double the DPS of a hunter and they can tank. So when official servers come out, I recommend you think long and hard before you roll a popular/easy class to play if your goal is to be an in-game raider. Currently, any warlock that applies to a raid in Hardcore Elite gets in automatically because there's no competition. But even though I didn't get into a Molten Core raid, I kept applying, and eventually I got into a ZG run, then an AQ20 run, and then an Onyxia run. These raids are smaller in size and require less preparation, so it makes sense I was able to get into one of these raids easier. We had a few close calls, but luckily no one in my raid has died yet, fingers crossed. Every day, more new players join the guild. This makes finding dungeon groups easier, but makes the list of people signing up for raids even longer. Which brings me to my next problem I found in Hardcore Classic Endgame. One massive guild. WoW Classic has a 40-man raid size, and since guilds need to have extra players on hand in case any of their players die, it leaves a lot of players on the bench. So unless you want to sit around waiting for the first string player to die so that you can get into a raid, I recommend you do one of these 3 options. Be one of the first people to hit level 60, play a warlock, or be a popular streamer. I'm just kidding about that last one. Kind of. The last problem I noticed with Hardcore Endgame is the level 60 population. Hardcore Elite recently hit 600 players in the guild. But even with the huge boom in popularity of Hardcore, the average number of players online sits somewhere between 40 and 50 at all times. This is because only about 5% of players will actually make it to level 60, and a lot of these 60s choose not to even engage in in-game content. They'd rather just level up again because they enjoy that more. In conclusion, because of the small level 60 population, we have one extremely large, overpopulated guild with a lack of class diversity. My question to you is, will this be the same on official launch? Will a Season of Mastery buff solve the level 60 population drought? Will you play Warlock on launch to help out the class diversity? Do you even care about hardcore in-game at all? Comment below and let me know what you think about my classic in-game experience so far. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.